So, listeners, welcome to a new episode of Bloodsport's One-on-One. This episode I will be doing in English and not in Dutch, like I normally do. In this episode, I got another special guest, and it's an honor to have him on the show. He's a tough 27 winner, New York native, and a UFC Featherweight fighter, Micheal the Lone Wolf Trizano. Welcome, Micheal, and I really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. You are my second guest, and this is a new platform also, so it's also new for me. So if I sound a little bit nervous, you know why. And also the first time I'm doing this in English, so on forehand, forgive me for my grammar or if I pronounce things wrong. So whatever. I hope I'm understandable, Micheal.
You are, man. You're crystal clear.
Okay, man. Check. That's a good to hear, man. So, with that said, before we start, Micheal, can you tell us a little bit about your background? How old are you? Where were you born, raised, brothers, sisters, married, children, and all the things you want to share with us?
Born and raised in Jersey. Technically I was born in New York, but I was raised in Jersey, and 28 years old now, and gonna get married soon. Got a huge family.
Nice.
Italians, half Italian, and then like the other half is like a bunch of other stuff, but mainly Irish.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it, man. And I'm a fighter, love it, love this stuff. I don't ever get sick of it, and it's pretty much it, man.
Nice,
Just
man.
live life.
So you already got children, Micheal?
No, not yet.
Not yet, eh? Not yet. Okay, so your
Not
plan
yet.
now, you get married, you got a girlfriend right now, right?
Yeah, man, gonna get married first,
That's
and then we'll see where that goes.
that's good. That's good to hear, man. That's
But
good.
yeah, I want to have kids. I want to have a family now, so
Nice.
it'll happen. Just
Nice,
whatever.
nice. So you already mentioned it there. I had a question like Trizano sounds like a name from the Godfather movie, especially when you add the lone wolf to it. So you're also from Italian descent, right?
I am, man. I'm Napolitano and Calabrese.
Okay. That's from your father's side or your mother's side?
My father's side, yeah.
From your father's side. So you ever been to Italy? Back to Italy?
I went there once. We were in Rome for a little bit, and then we stayed on some wine vineyard in Tuscany called Vignamaggio. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
I was young though. I was in like middle school, so I wanna go back. Being
Nice.
older now, I can do more.
Nice. How did you experience it? Nice?
Oh, it was awesome. Best food on the planet, without a doubt. I've been all over the world, man.
Nice.
Asia, the Caribbean,
Nice.
but nothing beats Italian food, man.
Nice, man. Good to hear, man. Cause my origin. I live in the Netherlands in Rotterdam. My origin is from Eritrea and Africa, but so
Okay.
we were a colony of the Italians. So I'm really familiar also with Italy. I have a lot of family there in Milan. So that's nice to hear, man. So I like it, the
Nice.
Italian culture and the food also. I'm also familiar with it. So that's good to hear, Michael.
Oh yeah, man. I sweat sauce. That's what happens.
The other thing, your tattoos also caught my eyes. You got one on your back, one on your right hand, I think, and one on your left upper body. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you?
So the back tattoo is my initials. Have you seen the movie Scarface, right?
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, that's a classic.
Well, it's a technically it was from Scarface. It was Tony Montana's insignia on his chair in his office, and I just took that, put it on my back, and made it the Italian flag colors.
Wow.
And then the one on my wrist is from my grandfather. It's a quote by George Patton. And then the one on my arm is just a bunch of wolves. It's based on Norse mythology, and there's three wolf gods. So I was super into it, and it fits with the name.
Yeah. Is that also where the nickname, the Lone Wolf comes from, or does that have a different story, Micheal?
No, I said it countless times that it came from just who I am in the cage. You know, you gotta be a lone wolf. Everybody's got a team they train with. Everyone prepares. So by all means, I'm not alone. But when you're in the cage, it's just you and the other guy. You gotta find a way to survive any way possible. So that's where the name came about.
Clear, check, check. So nice to hear, man. Nice to hear, man. Also the detail about the chair in the Scarface movie. I didn't notice it,
Yeah,
but that's good to know, man. That's good to know, man.
yeah,
And the cowboy hat. You always come up with the cowboy hat. Is that right?
yeah. So me and my family are kind of like we're super into the outdoors, super into like Western stuff, and I'm a big time hunter. My family is like extreme hunting, like they go all over the world, and that's just what we're into, man. So
Nice, man. And what do you mean they go over the world? What do you hunt, Michael? That's interesting.
anything, if
Have
it's
you?
huntable, if
Okay.
it's huntable,
They hunt it.
and you can eat it, you
Yeah.
get it.
Do you also hunt yourself a lot?
Yeah, man, all the time.
Nice,
My
man.
last trip was I went to Denver, Colorado, elk hunting, so that was a awesome trip.
Nice, 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 nice. So, okay, man. Now we.
I'll probably be going to Africa next year,
So
early next year. That's the plan, I think.
nice. You never been to Africa yet, right?
No, this will be the first time.
Nice, nice, nice.
I think we'll probably be somewhere like in Tanzania or something like that.
Nice, man. Yeah, that's a great place to hunt, man. Great,
Yeah,
great spot.
so I'm excited about that.
So your last fight was in May 2019, Michael, against Grant Dawson in your featherweight debut.
Yep.
A loss by a rear naked choke. But you was like I mentioned before this podcast, you was lighting that guy up on the feet, man. Especially with that jab. With all respect for Dawson
Yeah.
Airlines, but he was effortless with his takedowns. There's been a lot of there has not been a lot of news since then about you. So how are you doing, Michael? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I been cruising under the radar, man.
Okay,
I
right.
I was injured going into that fight, and just being a martial artist, our mindset is lose one limb, still got three.
Yeah.
So I fought anyway, but then after the fight, I went got checked out. I needed surgery, so I had knee surgery. Been out since then, and it's just been constant recovery, trying to get better and stronger, work on my craft. Like I said, I've been in the workshop, man, working on some new stuff, and just honing my skills even more. And I'm excited to make some noise this year.
Nice, man. Very excited to see you back in the octagon, Michael. Now, how was your recovery going, Michael? With the knee.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I feel great. Yeah, I'm actually going to the UFC PI at the beginning of March, so I'm going to be doing some training there and using the facility
Nice.
to my advantage. And I'm excited to just get back in the mix this year, man.
Nice.
Watching everybody fighting and moving on up, and I've been itching to get back.
Yeah, I can feel that, man. Because you got also some excited partners in your gym. But I'm gonna come back on that later. But what was going on with your knee, Michael? Can you tell us a little bit about that? What kind of injury do you had?
So it wasn't ACL, it was my meniscus, but it was like it wasn't torn. It was just completely detached from where it was supposed to be. So it was kind of just floating in my knee. And with the repair, it's a lot longer of a recovery because they didn't remove any. They had to just reattach it. So instead of it being like 4 to 6 weeks of a recovery which is like normal amount of time for a torn meniscus,
Yeah.
because they just gave it down. But this one was like 3, 4 month recovery, so I wasn't allowed to do much. I mean, physical therapy stuff here and there, but training I wasn't allowed to train for a while. So
Okay.
it was tough, just like mentally not being able to do it. I was dying to get back in there, but it was a necessary thing. I think it was a blessing in disguise, and I wouldn't do it again, but it had to be done.
Yeah, man, but good. But it's also good you take your time with the recovery, man. Very important,
Yeah.
especially if it's that kind of injury. But the knee injury can be very painful. But that's good to hear, Michael. In your UFC debut, you fought on a lightweight against Luis Peña,
Yeah.
who was originally planned to fight you in the tough 27 final. Was this right?
Yeah, I mean, he got hurt in the show, and he obviously thought he should have won. Like, I I mean, every other guy thought they could have won.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, that wasn't even my original plan. Like after the finale, my plan was to drop to featherweight.
Okay.
But he called me out and whatever. I'm always down to fight.
Yeah,
It doesn't
so let's
matter
do
who
it.
it is.
Yeah.
And it was a good opportunity. So
Yeah, man. Like I mentioned, he was a huge favorite, and I'm a MMA freak, so I watch all the fights from the start, from the early prelims, and I saw you fight, man. I was impressed because you was with those inside leg kicks. Also, you were chopping the guy up, and you won that fight. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna follow this dude. He's a serious guy, and you were very young, relatively. So that's what my next question. Why did you drop to featherweight, Michael?
I mean, I fought majority of my fights at featherweight before getting to the UFC. So I did the Ultimate Fighter at 55, so I didn't have to cut weight because I knew I was going to have to fight multiple times in a short period, and just takes a little bit longer to cut to 45. Not that it's hard. It just obviously it's not easy, but I got to do it the right way. But doing it multiple times in like I fought multiple times in a week, so to cut to 45 and stay there is tough. So instead of doing that, I went to 55, so I didn't have to do anything. Made my life easier.
check. It's clear. I always was wondering that.
Yeah, man.
So you mentioned yourself, you fight out of New York. The gym is called Tiger Schulman. That's right, Michael?
Yeah, we're actually in New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. Okay, because for me it's also unclear. Because New Jersey, it's not New York, right? It's just a little bit out of New York for my.
Yeah, so it's just a different state. It's right next to it. Like I'm like 30 minutes outside of New York City, so
Okay. Okay, clear. And
very
like
close.
clear. Like I mentioned, man, that's similar. And Shane Burgos, also a guy. He caught my eye against his fight against Calvin Cater. I think he was winning
Yeah.
that fight, but he slipped and lost that fight. But Julio Ars, I think you got Lyman Good. But where did your
Yeah.
MMA journey begin? And can you give us your story on the road to the highest level of MMA, Michael? How did it start for you all?
So I was a young teenager. Well, not real. I was in my late teens when I started. I was like 16, 17, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So
Like
I
most
wanted to
youngsters.
yeah, I wanted to. I mean, school wasn't really my thing. I wasn't really good with it, and so I just started training, and it just clicked, man. I loved it, and that's all that really ever made sense. It's the only thing that I was smooth and good at. So stuck, and here I am.
Check, man. And which kind of martial arts did you start? Was it wrestling, kickboxing, boxing?
Kickboxing and jiu-jitsu.
Check.
So in Tiger Showman's, we do it all. So we have wrestling, we have jiu-jitsu, we have kickboxing. So I don't need to travel to other places to get certain kinds of work in. We got everything under one roof. I mean, don't get me wrong, we cross train all the time and we go against other guys, but for the most part, everything's in-house.
That's good. That's good. And did you start from the beginning at Tiger Showman?
Yeah, man. I've been there since day one. And started with Tiger Showman's and been doing it ever since.
That's good, man. And when did you realize this was the thing you wanted to do for a living, Michael? Was that from
Probably after my first fight, and I knocked the dude out, and that was it, man. I was like, damn, this is awesome. I gotta do it more.
But how was that feeling first time to knock a guy out? Are you resentless?
Awesome.
Yeah, are you resentless?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like I head kicked him, but then I finished him with a body shot and knocked the wind out of him, and they called it. So
Wow. And that was your first. It was it an amateur fight or a professional fight?
it was an amateur kickboxing fight.
Amateur kickboxing fight, clear, man.
Yeah.
When did you do your first pro MMA fight, Michael? Do you
My
remember
first
that?
pro MMA fight was, I think, back in 2015.
Check.
So
Because you didn't
Yeah.
start from the beginning in UFC, right? You started, I saw in Bellator or another.
No, so I started, my first pro fight was at Ring of Combat, which is like a big organization in our area.
Okay.
And a lot of guys have come out of Ring of Combat. Like Frankie Edgar did Ring of Combat, Eddie Alvarez, Chris Weidman. A lot of guys have come out of there. Jimmy Rivera did Ring of Combat. Julio Arce did Ring of Combat. Lima Good did Ring of everybody's. Ring of Combat is one of the biggest ones in like the New York, New Jersey area. So anyone big name that came out of our area has gone through Ring of Combat.
Check.
But I only did one fight with Bellator. That was right before I went on the show.
Okay.
And they came local. It was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So they asked me to be on the undercard. I'm not going to say no. It's a big organization, so I took it.
Yeah, that's good, man. You won that fight also because your first loss was against Dawson, right?
Yeah. So I won by Anaconda choke in Bellator, and then after that I went to the show.
Check. I always say MMA is different from other sports, man. You don't have to outpoint your opponent or something. If you call it a sport, you get punched, kicked in the face, and choked out and everything. So you got to have a winner mentality and willing to put everything on the line. Have you ever asked yourself, Micheal, where does this fire, eagerness, dedication, where did this come from to do this?
I just love competition, man. It's just the purest thing on the planet. It's in our DNA, man. We're primal.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than, I've always wanted to just test myself, see how far I can go with things and how much stronger I can get and all this stuff, so I just love it. And I've always been super competitive.
Yeah.
It probably came from my pops. He's super competitive. He works hard all the time. No one works harder than him, so I think my hard work comes from him.
Check. Yeah, but I'll always ask that myself, man. You guys put yourself through so much things, man. And to do this every day, it's something special, man, Micheal. So I think you got to have kind of eagerness, man, to get dedication to do this.
Love it, man.
Yeah, you gotta love to do this, man, because you guys put yourself, and the girls also, man. You put yourself through a lot of things.
Yep.
So how does a regular training week look like for you, Micheal? Is there a certain method, formula, a balance between technique, training, strength and cardio, rest? Do you diet, etc.?
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of everything. I mean every week. I train every day. I usually rest on Saturdays. Sundays I'll do some light training, and then Monday through Friday hard training, 2 to 3 hours every morning. And it changes, striking, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, mixing it up. Doing some days we do some sparring. But I'm always making sure, like, if my body's really hurting, I'm smart about it. I take a rest, I rest a little bit. But for the most part, I'm super active all week. So
that's good, man. That's good. But do you also have a certain diet now? You're fighting on featherweight, Micheal. Can you basically eat what you want and you do a weight cut in the last week or the last 2 weeks, a couple of days before the fight?
No, I eat good all the time, man. Regardless if I'm fighting or not, I'm always in shape, so I don't have to do too much to try and make weight. But when I'm cutting 45, I do have a very strict diet. Everything's kind of down to a science, so I can make weight the best way possible without killing myself.
Check. What's your weight in a normal period outside of your fighting period?
Like 170 pounds.
Okay. So your weight cut is about, I see, 25 pounds. Okay, that's
I'm like 170 right now.
Okay.
Give or take.
Nice. That's in kilos. Is that about 10 kilos? Okay. That's okay. And how you recovery, Micheal? Do you use certain products to recover, or do you just rest good and eat good?
Eat good. I mean, rest. I mean, if something bothers me, I usually ice a lot. I use some CBD products.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it. Ice baths.
Okay.
Cryo.
Check.
Massages. PT.
Check.
the whole 9 yards, man. Anything I can do to recover, I use it.
That's good, man. That's good, man. So let's take a sidestep, Michael. Out of MMA, you're also a human being, a son, a partner, a husband in the future, an uncle, and nephew. What kind of person is Michael outside fighting? Or let me state it in a different way. What would people say close around you about you, Michael?
Got a lot of self-discipline. I work really hard, and I love to be outside, in the outdoors,
Check.
in the woods.
Check. So you.
That's my thing.
Clear, man. That's clear, man. And do you have any other deep interests outside the MMA beside hunting, Michael? Because that's your main thing, I think, man. Out being outside and doing your stuff, right?
Yeah, hunting, fishing, hiking. I like to go on boats and stuff and be out in the water. I like playing video games here and there, you know. But I'm also super big into other sports too. Like, believe it or not, I watch like football and baseball more than I actually do fighting.
Yeah, but that's not strange, but I hear a lot of fighters say that. But is that because you're always busy with fighting that like when you're not fighting like you don't want to be thinking about fighting, Michael?
Not that, but I just am more into baseball and football than I am
Check.
actual fighting.
Check,
Like,
man.
I mean, maybe that's part of it. Maybe I do because I do it all the time. I want to like get away from it for a minute.
Yeah, maybe that.
But
Yeah.
I'm just super into baseball, man. Super into football. Love those sports.
Nice, man. Nice, man. For my own interest, Michael, I don't follow that sport a lot. But which clubs do you support in these sports?
So football, I'm a big Minnesota Vikings fan, and then baseball, I'm a diehard Yankee fan, man.
Okay,
New York
man.
Yankees.
Yeah, that's around
All
the
the
corner.
way.
Okay, man. uh, so Michael, for this year, what are your goals? What can we expect from the Lone Wolf in 2020?
And expect me to fight at least a couple times. I'm ready to get back in there. I'm hungry. I want to show off some new stuff, and I just want to exchange leather with somebody, man. I miss it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear, man, Michael. Because I think you're still recovering for your injury, right? You're not
Yeah,
fully.
but I'll be back soon.
That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear, man. And how is you're going to the PI Institute, the UFC PI Institute? You told me.
Yeah, beginning of March I'll be going.
Nice, man. Have you been there already?
Yeah, I've been there a few times. It's awesome. I love that place. So it's a good chance to kind of just get away a little bit, and I'll probably do some hiking when I'm out there. I like being in Vegas, so.
So that's good to hear, man, Michael. That's good to hear. So I want to wrap it up for now. I think that's a good introduction from you to the audience here. I think, Michael. So again,
Yes,
I
sounds good, man.
I want to thank you a lot. Do you have any last message for now for the listeners?
No, just stay tuned. The Lone Wolf is coming back, and he's a totally different animal now.
That's good to hear, man.
I'm excited to put on a show for everybody.
It's good to hear, Michael. I'll be following you again. Appreciate it a lot. I hope it won't be the first and the last time, Michael. I'll be following you.
Absolutely not, man.
That's
Have me on anytime.
Thanks, man. For the listeners outside the Netherlands, my podcasts are normally in Dutch, so for the Dutch audience. So, but this is an international sport, so many interview podcasts will partly also be in English with mixed martial artists. So be on the lookout. For now, thanks for listening, and till the next episode of Bloedsport 1-on-1.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, have a good one, man.
You too.